I was initially convinced to play this game after watching a video from bobvids, an amazing YouTuber who makes a much more compelling argument than I will ever be able to about why this game is worth your time. In many ways, this video will parrot his sentiment, which I fully second in every way, but I hope by the end of the video you will understand why parroting is important here. Writing an essay for this video is to me a daunting task. I don't just want to talk about this game, I need to talk about it. After finishing the game, I had a barrage of thoughts and feelings that were about to burst out of my chest, but I can only bother my wife, my friends, my Twitch viewers, and my mom so much with it before I eventually drive everyone away from my life for being insufferable. Hence, I have to make this video. At the same time, I will try to convince you to play this game by giving you the absolute minimum I can to avoid spoilers. Seriously, this game is best played without knowing anything. And if you're willing to take my word for it, you can check the link in the description to Red Candle Games' website to buy the game. Close this video right now, play it, and thank me later. Finally, before we talk about it, a small bias warning. I am really addicted to emotional stories in games. My favorite game has always been and will always be Silent Hill 2, an opinion for which I have been relentlessly mocked by some people for being basic or whatever. But I don't care. I will never care. Silent Hill 2 is one of the best things that ever happened in my life. I am grateful that my mom allowed 13-year-old me to buy a used copy of it that I found by chance on a game shop in a mall in Brazil so I could update my Silent Hill website, and I have been chasing the emotional high that game left me with ever since. It's been a bumpy road. So many soulless corporations dumping money into AAA games that fail miserably because no amount of money buys creativity and passion. I'm looking at you, Bluebird team, but also David Cage and Quantic Dreams. But occasionally, there's wheat among the chaff, and occasionally, a single game, often indie, makes this entire bumpy road worth it. Devotion was released in 2019 by Red Candle Games, a small indie game company based in Taipei, which, as of this writing, only has 2 games. The other one is called Detention. Although they have similar titles, their similarities are limited to the fact that both tell devastating stories that address elements of Taiwanese history and culture, but both have vastly different premises and gameplays. Both titles are nothing short of masterpieces, showing the company's potential to tell emotional, engaging stories through immersive gameplay. Their budget seems to be small enough to limit them to make games without much combat and 3D character animation. Yet those guys are absolute masters at making the most out of the budget they have. I can't quite explain what I mean, but if you play the game, you will understand. In many ways, Devotion is a walking simulator / PT clone. You will mostly explore the same house, and there's no combat or major mechanics, except for a short section at the end, so the immersion mainly comes from unpacking the story, and boy, immersed you shall be. The atmosphere for this game is brilliant, from the sound and lighting, to the attention to detail in small objects, to the freaking main menu. I was tense from start to finish. Maybe I need to light up all the candles before I'm able to... Big liar. I had to... From the get-go, this game will let you know that you will be scared. But this game doesn't throw cheap jump scares for the sake of being edgy. No, it purposely crafts tension in a way that is hard to put into words. If you're willing to push through the fear, trust me when I say this is a rewarding story that will sit with you for days, maybe years on end. Despite being deeply entrenched to Eastern culture and set in the 80s, it resonates with me in so many ways. Both as someone's child and wannabe parent, I could put myself in every character's shoes, all the while seeing echoes of contemporary issues that are relevant to Brazil and the United States. I believe this game did an amazing job balancing the cruelty and pain of the story it tells while being respectful to the children it depicts in the story. And the ending encompasses this beautifully. I won't say anything about it, just that I hope you experience this ending at least once. It is one of the most beautiful things I have ever seen in a video game, and this is coming from someone who read Mary's letter at the end of Silent Hill 2. Now, if you never heard of this game, you might be wondering, if it's so good, why have you never heard of it? Well, unfortunately it has hardly anything to do with the game itself, but rather something so silly, banal, and stupid, it frankly makes me want to talk about this game all that much more. Okay, brace yourself. There's no way to talk about this without getting a little political. So, time to commit career Sudoku, I guess. The game was initially released on Steam. However, 2 days after its release, players discover a prop containing the words Xi Jinping Winnie the Pooh, along with allegedly another prop insulting his mom. This references an internet meme that seems to either upset the Chinese leader or its government personnel, to a point where even the Winnie the Pooh movie has been banned in China. As a result, the game was review bombed, flipping it from an overwhelmingly positive rank to mostly negative. The devs tried to clarify that the prop was left by accident, but it was too late, and frankly, I don't think it really matters if this is true or not. 4 days after its release, the cowardly suits at Steam then decided to remove the game. Almost 2 years later, on December 16, 2020, Red Candle Games attempted to release the game on a competing platform, Good Old Games, or GOG. After a few hours, the same review bombing occurred, and GOG suits also caved in like little bitches and removed the game from their platform too. Quick pause to reflect a bit on this review bombing. Especially because the game was taken down, it's hard to tell exactly what happened, but I can think of 3 hypotheses on who engaged in said review bombing. Number 1. Chinese players are devoted, pun a little bit intended, to their leader, and were angry about the game's criticism of him, so they reacted by leaving legitimate criticism. 2. This was done by the Chinese government, who I'm 100% sure has the personnel to put this amount of effort in making fake users and review bombing. Or 3. Chinese players want to keep playing video games, and they know that their rights can be taken from them at the blink of an eye. It may just take one game for the government to just ban games overall in China in one fell swoop, so they looked at their bigger picture and decided to take action themselves. Now, from where I'm standing, this is just a sad story for indie games, and for a small company that clearly puts their heart and soul into the games they make. But at the same time, I don't live in China. I wasn't raised there, and I can simply say that I wouldn't have done the same thing no matter how much I'd like to believe it. Ultimately, I don't know what happened or why, but regardless, here we are. Despite all the unknowns, there is clearly someone who's wrong in this entire story, and that is Valve. You see, Valve has a single objective metric in their decision making: money. Removing Devotion was a calculated risk-reward choice that considered that keeping the game would probably mean losing that sweet, juicy slice of the Chinese market, and that can't happen. So they threw a small company under the bus and didn't look back since. As a result, lots of people have never heard of one of the best story-driven games ever made. So let me take this moment and say a colossal fuck you to Valve and GOG while we're at it. This is an embarrassment. Do better. I hope this costs you lots of profits, you greedy pigs. Now, Valve and GOG aren't exactly breaking any laws by letting their horniness for money lead them to morally wrong decisions. But what do we do about it? Well, the unfortunate truth is we have become dependent on these middlemen leeches to discover games. Hardly anyone visits any website outside of that of big corporations anymore. Red Candle still sells Devotion for $17 at time of writing, and I can't think of any better use of $17. That's about as much as a ticket to the movies nowadays for a game you want forever, and that's exactly the point of making this video. The only thing I, as an individual, can do is shout at the top of my lungs that this game exists, and it's a masterpiece. I hope that the Barbra Streisand effect will be strong enough to never let this game be forgotten. This whole ordeal happened almost 5 years ago, but it's no less a travesty today. Frankly, this entire controversy was something that drew me all that much more to try this game out. Not only have I experienced one of the best games ever released, period, I feel like I'm standing up to big corporations by playing this game and talking about it. And yes, this video may be just a tiny drop in the ocean, but without it, the ocean would be smaller. The unfortunate truth is people speak with their wallets, so between using your hard-earned cash in another gold simulator on Steam or whatever the hell they're selling these days, this may be a much better deal. We have a limited time on this earth, so it is important to prioritize valuable experiences while we can. Spending time with your loved ones, learning, developing hobbies, discovering new places and cultures, but also consuming media that tell compelling, emotional stories that stay with you long after you experience them. I believe playing Devotion was one of the best uses of my time. I have no affiliation to Red Candle Games, but I truly believe that they put their heart and soul into this beautiful story, and it shows. If you have the means and the time, consider playing Devotion. It is a scary, uncomfortable, and sometimes gruesome experience, but I promise you, if you can power through the fear, you will experience one of the best stories ever written in video games. Thank you for watching, and thank you for your time. Devotion forever.